just like we've seen in the past, people who've done adult films who retired and later had children, when their children find out what they did and their children's friends find out what they did, how devastating that is.
Real life. It ain't real life. Just ain't real life. Street Starz. You know what time it is.
I want to start with that as far as, one thing that we don't hear about in these trials like this is how children are affected by the trials and going through trials and having to go and watch a parent or whatever. Right now we're speaking on fathers, of course, with Diddy, but watching a father go through this, how trying is it on the family, and how do attorneys assist with that, the mental fortitude of the children?
Usually I'm on the side of I'm representing Ms. Ventura. And I'll be honest with you, I've been thinking about this the entire time. This is going to be devastating. And so it was really brave of her to do this. But you have to remember, just like we've seen in the past, people who've done adult films who retired and later had children, when their children find out what they did and their children's friends find out what they did, how devastating that is. And so in this instance, there are some pretty hard-hitting one-liners or facts that took place during this trial that her children are one day going to have to deal with it. And so we always make sure and always encourage that a portion of the funds are set aside to assist the children through those dark periods, because they are coming, because kids are mean and people are mean. And so I really feel sorry for her children. As far as Sean Combs' kids, I think all of his kids are for the most part, over 21.
Right.
And so they're adults, and some of them probably had either seen glimmers of what their father was doing.
Probably was partaking in as well, maybe?
I wouldn't go that far as saying,
that far.
I'm not going that far
Okay.
as far as saying partaking. But you do see they probably did see their father yell at people. They probably seen some physical altercations, and they probably seen his demeanor, and they definitely seen him with multiple women. And so all of that, I don't really see that affecting them too much, other than the fear of having to deal with law enforcement. I think that is the one thing that they'll probably take away from this.
In your mindset, as far as Diddy settled originally with Cassie?
Not soon enough.
Not soon enough, but within 24 hours. I don't know how he got to the point where the lawsuit became public. But most people settle because they don't want either their family members to know things. Some things are left best behind closed doors. For him to, of course, settle with that, but not take a plea deal and choose to go forward with this court case, that means he was probably willing to he knew this stuff was going to come out. Like, he knew they had the records. They raided his house. They took hard drives. You know what's on hard drives. You know what's out there. Again, towards the family, towards the children, do you feel like, even with them having to testify a lot of the stuff during week one and the kids walking out to hear Cassie's testimony, things that they probably, especially the daughters, did not want to hear. What do you feel the mindset is? Of course, I know he's not guilty. He said he's not guilty, but knowing like what's legally, what can be kept like from the public's eye? Like, they're not showing videos. Right. Only the jury's going to see those videos of the freak-offs. What can be kept if a person doesn't want certain things out, only for the jury to see, but not the public to know?
Really, it's up to the government. It's up to the government and the victims in this situation, or alleged victims, depending on how you feel about it. And so it's different from a civil case, but within a criminal case, with someone who is guilty of witness tampering, extortion, and things of that nature, the government is going to take the stand that they have to protect these witnesses and those who are involved, so that they can keep their case moving forward and it's not tampered with. And if people who are close to Puffy or who have a strong tie to the organization know who these individuals are, they run the risk of being harassed or even, possibly injured. We've seen instances where people have such a strong stance on things that they actually react violently. We just saw it this weekend with the shooting of the elected officials.
Yeah, so it's crazy how they set that up. And we'll touch on that. As this trial is going forward, we're going to be jumping around as far as week 4 and week 5. But the first thing we would want to touch on is, of course, Kanye West arrives at trial to support his friend.
Right.
For those that don't know, how is, and especially with Diddy's trial, like how can people come be a witness to it? We hear a lot of YouTubers are out there, a lot of content creators are out there. I know you normally need a media pass to even be part of the media to go in and kind of address it, but someone like a Kanye West, can he just go and sit in on Diddy's trial? Like, is that a thing that they'll allow?
One of the reasons why the term the People's Court was framed is because everyday citizens have a right to enter into these courtrooms to see how these proceedings are going. And so even though he is a celebrity, he still has what, quote unquote, a right. The difference in this particular instance is that he may have been kept out of the main gallery only because they may feel that it will tamper with the jury. Because if the jury sees that someone such as a Kanye West is willing to come in there and support Mr. Combs, it could sway the jury, or that they could feel like it could sway the jury. And so they don't want any outside circumstances or extraordinary events to shape the mind or change the trajectory of this case and leave it solely on the facts.
Understandable. Yeah, Kanye is a big figure. It's interesting because the same day he came, they mentioned the Jane Doe, of course, whose name hasn't been revealed now, but the Jane Doe had mentioned as far as pulling up to the situation with a very well-known rapper.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was the prosecution wanted to they should be able to speak on who the rapper is.
No, it was the defense.
The defense wanted to say, hey, we should be able to say who the rapper is. And the prosecution, moved against that as far as we don't need to know. First and foremost, give us your take as far as the defense wanting the rapper's name to be mentioned, that we should, if this is a court of public opinion, we're going to fight this in the public, then we need to know who's all involved in this and them not letting the rapper's name out.
So everyone who has been to elementary school and gotten in trouble, what's the first thing that people do when they get in trouble? Kobe Bryant did it.
Yeah, tattletale.
I ain't the only one doing it.
Yeah, you can point.
Shaquille doing the same thing, right? And so they point to others to show that what they're doing is not necessarily awful and is really something that people like them do. And so I've said it at the very beginning, is that there is a world that many of us don't know about with people with this kind of money and this kind of access, that they live differently than us. I mean, the things that we see on social media, they're not there for no reason, right? I mean, and I'm not trying to take a shot at anyone, but you have a person who is attractive and you see them in this lavish lifestyle. But when you hear them speak and they open their mouth, you're like, clearly you're not running an empire or a business because you can't, right? Just from the way that they're carrying themselves and speaking, you automatically assume, okay, it's something else behind all of this stuff that you receive,
right,
and all the stuff that you're around. And so I think you shine a light on the lifestyle and the access, and that everybody has this access, and it's not necessarily just Sean Combs. He's not the only one.
Would you like to take a stab at who that rapper was?
I absolutely would not.
Okay.
I absolutely will not. But I will throw the phrase out there: a hit dog will holler. And so
I thought you were gonna say like, she takes my money.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No. Matter of fact, Matter of fact, good friend of mine, I'm not gonna say her name, but she was actually the lead model in that video. And
very dope.
And so she's married to one of my best
I'm gonna
friends.
go back and watch. I'm gonna go back and watch the video.
She's married to one of my best friends.
Amazing.
Shout out RealLyfe Street Starz, nigga. Move. Hey.